We're speaking at an event, well, you're speaking at an event later on in about 10 weeks from now?
Yeah, about that.
What are you going to be speaking about? Without giving away too much.
Okay, so generally it is talking about how exercise is important for so much more than your physique, what you look like, fat loss, getting huge, and obviously I'll go into more detail about why it's important, but yeah, all of the other reasons why to do exercise and how it makes you feel good, not just looking in the mirror. Are these lessons that you've learned along the way from obviously your fitness journey? Yeah, absolutely. Like I am lucky enough, I started in kind of exercise. I started exercising from a young age in a sports sense. So I did gymnastics from when I was 4 to about 12, 13. So exercise has always been like a kind of stress release performance thing. So I never, thank God, got into the kind of obsessive about image side of things. In saying that, obviously I grew up as a female in South County Dublin, and I was very much aware of we should look this way, we should eat like this because we want to look like this. So I could see that kind of world around me. Yeah,
well that could definitely start to happen from gymnastics as well, because I presume gymnastics is a lot like, I know speaking to a lot of dancers who ended up with like eating disorders or disordered eating because, you know, it's a sport where you probably have to be light on your feet, and there's probably an encouragement to weigh less.
Absolutely. Like I was actually like told what to eat and stuff from a young age, but then like it was more, I saw it as if I don't eat enough food, I'm going to be wrecked. I can't train properly. You know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm so glad that I did have that kind of view of things. Now I did obviously have my days of bad body image as like came into teens and stuff, but for the most part, I'm really, really grateful that I had gymnastics. For more things, just like outside of like the mindset side of it, the strength, the flexibility, my drive all comes from gymnastics, I'd say. So
when did the introduction of the gym and weight training and that come into it then?
So I quit gymnastics. I finished up because of I was falling apart. Like it's so intense on your body.
Really?
Yeah, so I have dodgy knees, dodgy different things here and there. So I quit gymnastics when I was like 13 or 14, did nothing for 3 or 4 years, and I just became like the Antichrist. Like going from about 12 hours of training a week for 10, 12 years to nothing was just, I was like, my school put me into anger counselling. Like
you'd no outlet.
Yeah, like I was cracking up, and I was like frustrated.
Were you not aware of why this was?
No, not at all.
No.
Like my mum was like, oh, she's just a teenager, and like, but like we had, every single day was a battle. I'd get up and I was like, I'm not going to school, not doing this, not doing that. And I could like inside, I was like, I know I'm a nice person. Like it wasn't that I was angry, I was just like built up energy. So then about 18, I'd say, my mum was like, right, you're going to the gym. She was going to a gym, and she, thank God, she paid for me to do one-to-one personal training from the age of 18, which is like honestly a lifesaver. Like, I don't know.
That's so funny that she dragged you to the gym and now you're dragging her to the gym.
I literally drag her out of bed at 6 a.m. But yeah, so it was about 80, I think I was doing the leaving cert, so maybe 17 or 18. Started going to the gym, I was dragged into the gym basically. From session 1, I was like, yeah. Like
you straight away enjoyed it?
Yeah, because the PT was like, okay, we're going to do a squat. Have you ever heard of that before? Obviously, like I was strong, I had mobility and everything. And he was like, okay, how did that feel? I was like, good. And he was like, we're going to try heavier. And I was like, yeah, cool. Going to try heavier. And he was like, right, this is cool. So I saw, he was impressed by me. And I was like,
that gave you good feedback.
This is my thing, yeah. So, yeah. And then I went pretty much, like, again, I just went into more performance. I was doing like deadlift, squat, kind of 1RM from a young age. So I, again, used it as something that I could work towards. It kept my head straight. It kept me feeling physically good. Like big thanks to my mum.
That's so funny, because most people end up getting into the gym or into fitness for the wrong reasons, and then they come full circle to what you essentially started on. Whereas like a lot of people will go into the gym because they don't like how they look, they want to lose weight, etc., etc. But then they kind of figure out along the way what keeps them there and actually gets them the results they want is what you actually went in for, which was stress relief, you know, a performance, actually enjoying it, actually becoming a better quality person because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I'm so grateful for how I came into it. But then again, like I did then reach a point where I was like, okay, it's okay to want to do this for my body, to want to look good, and to look in the mirror and be like, I built this.
Yeah.
I was never extremely self-conscious about my body.
Yeah.
But I did have a switch then to be like, actually, that can be a goal.
Yeah.
You know, it's not egotistical to want to look good.
No, and we're going to talk about that. We actually we'll move straight into that then, because I think that's important. That first and foremost, like the fact that you understood that you had a good relationship with exercise, you know, training for performance, and then being able to be like, okay, now I want to challenge myself with an aesthetic goal. Which I think is a really good way to do. I think it's dangerous when it goes the opposite way. So obviously you prepped for a photo shoot only. How long ago was it now?
I started my prep August or September of last year.
Yeah.
So nearly a year.
Nearly a year now.
Yeah.
How challenging was that?
It's interesting. Like, it was obviously a huge challenge. Like, I had to completely change my life for the last couple of weeks, but it's a weird thing when you're in that zone and you've made the decision. It's just like, wake up, do this, do this, do this. Like, you don't even question.
Yeah.
You have to get into that mindset of like a photo shoot prep, or like an aesthetic, like bodybuilding would be like obviously 10 steps ahead. I can't even imagine. But when you set out with that goal and you're like, right, I've set up all the circumstances around me to make sure I do this well.
Yeah.
You just wake up every day, you tick the boxes, tick every single box, get back into bed and do it again. It's only after I look back, I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? Like, it's wild. Like, I wanted to do it, number one, for an aesthetic goal, but also I wanted to show myself that I could hit a goal and I didn't do badly in school, but I didn't really try that hard in school.
Yeah.
I fluked my way through it and did quite well. I fluked my way through a lot of things and did quite well. I wanted to be like, right, this is my goal and I'm going to do absolutely every single thing I need to get there and finish it and say, yeah, I ticked every box.
Well, to get down to that level of leanness, I think probably, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like to do that, it takes that you have to be all in on it. And if you're not going to achieve that level of leanness, because you have to almost sacrifice 90%, if not everything around you to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why when you're in it, it doesn't seem that challenging.
Yeah, but you have to make the decision
because you've
first.
made a complete, it's a black or white, I'm doing this or I'm not.
Yeah.
I've come like 7 weeks in, I'm not going to stop now, so get over it, keep going. Now, I did, like, God bless my coach, Grace, she got the most wild voice messages, voice notes, like texts. Like, I remember one of the days in the morning, I told her I didn't want to diet anymore because I'd gotten too lean. I was in the gym, I was like, I look too lean, this is freaky. In the evening, I was doing a dance class with people who were quite like petite.
Yeah.
I texted her, I was like, I'm fat, I'm huge. And she was like, let's just take a step back. This morning you were too lean, this evening you're too big. She was like, you got this, I'm here, keep going. So yeah, thank God. I think, well, I needed a coach. Like, I needed a coach for the photo shoot, but I think it would be very, very difficult to do it without a coach. Even though obviously I am a coach and I know all the right things, it's so important to have that someone outside just checking in with you, allowing you to take a step back, see it from a reality point of view, because you just get so, as you said, 90%, 99% of your world is like shut out. It's just prep.
You need an outside perspective because you can't really trust your thoughts at that stage. Absolutely.
It was bizarre. And I think back, like, another thing, like, I think it's so important. Well, for me, it was so important to have a good community around, like the people around me. Like, although it is my decision and I can wake up and be like, right, I wanted to do this and I have to keep doing it for myself. You are going to get on people's nerves. They're going to get on your nerves. You're going to get snappy. Everyone's going to think you're crazy. Yeah. But my mum, my dad, like everyone at home knew what I was doing. they put up with me, and I'm so grateful that I had those people. My best friend used to just go and do steps with me because that's the only way we could really hang out. I wasn't going drinking, wasn't going whatever. Sean, my boyfriend, was so good, and then he actually went to Dubai for the last 5 weeks.
I
didn't force him to go, but it actually
it worked out well for both of you.
See ya. But again, like, he understood, like, we're not going to be going out for dinners. We're not going to be whatever every day. Like, things are going to change, and it's so important that you kind of have a chat with the people around you and be like, right, I'm going to be maybe a bit of a nightmare for the next few weeks. And they really carried me through, as well as Grace, my coach.
Yeah, and like, you know, as coaches, we always talk about like this all or nothing mindset around people, getting people a result, and, you know, helping them to incorporate a healthy lifestyle and so on and so forth. But like, when you're looking to get to that level of leanness and do a challenge like that, it essentially is like all or nothing, because you can't really miss a meal. You can't really, you know, go out every weekend and do what you want. Like, it has to be very rigid.
Yeah, and it's important. I think it was good to see myself do that, to then come back to being a PT, back to being a coach, and be like, this is not health and fitness, you know?
No.
This is a bodybuilding goal, or a physique goal.
Yeah.
And that's an all or nothing thing.
Yeah.
And then it's good to know that, to then go back to my clients and be like, that was a goal, whatever. But for general health, like, I'm going back to, like, I want to feel good. Yeah. I want to enjoy my life. I want to see my friends. And
well, that's why I even said, like, it's good, the fact that, like, if you're going to take on a challenge like that, you already have the foundations before that, in terms of, like, you have a healthy relationship with food, you have a healthy relationship with exercise, like, you were already in good habits and behaviours to then give you the platform to be able to take on a challenge of actually getting that lean, and it not turn into something where someone who has a poor relationship with food turns into a huge restriction binge cycle or something like that.
Which happens so often, like with photo shoots and stuff. But then when you look at, like, say, the bodybuilding world, it's a great sport, and I think, like, I'm in awe of people who do compete. But I think some people go into it not really. Maybe I think going into, well, even with the photo shoot, going into it having the right reason, having like an intrinsic goal. So I wanted to show myself that I could follow through on things, the discipline, that side of things. I think some people maybe go with like extrinsic goals, which is like, I want people to see me looking
Stand
good.
Up on stage,
and like it's all things from the outside, which only go so deep, which will only carry you through to so far.
Yeah.
When they start to fade away, you're left there with like possibly obsession.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
So here's a question. So let's say someone is in a situation where, like, you know, they do want to do something like that. They're in a good mindset. They've, you know, good relationship with exercise, and they actually want to challenge themselves to do something like that, where they get down to an extreme level of body fat. What do you think are some of the main things that they need to do in order to achieve that in terms of their day-to-day routine?
First of all, I would, as I said, get a coach. No matter what level you're at already. If you are, well, I wouldn't recommend a beginner to go into like a photo shoot prep or any sort of prep. So number one, have a good bit of training behind you. Get a coach, and I think it's important to look around for coaches, have consultations with different coaches, see what questions they're asking you. If they're asking just, what's your body fat percentage? What do you want to look like? What do you eat now? And that's it. Alarm bells. Like, I know with my coach, it was like, what does this mean to you? What in your life has led you to this? What, like, kind of searching deeper for why I wanted to do it, and asking like how my setup is around me. What's my relationship with food like? Do I train often already? Do I enjoy training? Those kind of things. So shopping around for your coach is important. Then once you have your coach, being so honest with them, allow them to know exactly where you are now. Don't say, oh yeah, I train 5 times a week anyways, that's fine, I can just keep doing that. Say, okay, look, I only train twice a week at the moment, can we start from there? they'll know then where you are to set a realistic plan.
Yeah.
If that means the prep is going to be 20 weeks, or if the journey together is going to be 20 weeks, that's okay. But
how long was your prep?
It was a 12-week prep.
Yeah.
So I think we spent.
What did you start at weight-wise?
74.
And what you get down to?
62 or 3. Which was bizarre. I remember on the call.
What was your calories by the end of it?
Oh, I won't even. Low. They were low. They were low, and my steps were high.
Here's a question for you then. So what do you think were the main levers that were able for you to help you to be able to maintain such a low deficit?
What do you mean?
Like, was it routine in your food, sleep? The contents of your meals, like how were you able to manage that without deciding that I'm just going to scoff a big fucking pizza? That's
the probably 8 weeks of the start of the prep was getting all of that in the right place, if you get me. I wasn't on crazy low calories at the start in any sense. It was like figuring out what's going to work for me, figuring out what meals I can eat every day pretty much. Yeah.
Because that's probably a big thing as well. It's like, okay, if when you're trying to get down to that level of leanness, there's probably going to be a bit of brain fog. You're probably not going to want to make too many decisions. Yeah. So having routine in terms of structure of I'm going to eat the fucking same meal every day, even if it's a little bit boring, because it works for me and I don't have to think about it.
And exactly. It's routine. In the last few weeks, it's pretty much Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Every single day, same breakfast, same lunch, same dinner. 8 hours sleep, same amount of steps pretty much, into the gym at the same time, home from the gym at the same time. Literally, routine was 100% necessary, but I'd perfected that for weeks. Yeah. So the last few weeks was just wake up, tick boxes, go to bed. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, every single meal tasted like heaven.
Yeah, because you're fucking
I never felt that hungry, until obviously the last maybe week or two when I was genuinely hungry. Maybe I had cravings here or there, but it was so cemented in that I was waiting for my dinner oh my God, this is going to be the most. It was probably looking at it now, I probably wouldn't even taste the food.
That's so funny. It's the same thing. All right, if I have fucking pizza every night for dinner, I'm not going to have the same satisfaction in my taste buds as maybe if I just have pizza maybe once a week. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's you start to sensitize to the food or desensitize to the food that you're eating. But when you're on such low calories, an apple tastes unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. Sugar in anything is so sweet.
Yeah.
It's part of the prep was really enjoyable, and when I woke up I felt so awake. Because I was so light, my body was physically so light. I was jumping around the place. My cardio felt easy because there wasn't much. I'm not stocky, but I have a lot of muscle on me, and I'm heavy-ish. So when I got down to pretty much just muscle and skin, I was literally, it felt like if I fell over, it wouldn't even hurt me because I was my sleep was so deep because I was so tired. But then when I woke up, I was awake. Yeah. Let's go.
So routine and just like you said, Groundhog Day rigidness is probably the key to all that once you figure that out, what that looks like.
Yeah, I think obviously routine in the last while, but the only reason I got that routine was because I spent so much time leading up to the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Again, starting where I was at, trial and error for a few weeks, locking in the best kind of workouts, what days worked best for workouts, what timing for meals, all of those little things kind of accumulate. And it's not that I was right, now this week I'm going to perfect it just kind of builds up together, taking it slow and steady for whatever amount of weeks, getting what works for you, and then knuckle down, head down for, I'd say the last 3 weeks I was aggressive. And before that it wasn't too difficult because I was pretty easy on myself. Yeah. And I had a coach that I was completely open and honest with. I think, again, that is huge. To just be I'm really struggling today. and they might just be like, right, let's up your calories for a bit. That's fine. I was honest. I wasn't hiding anything. I knew that if I went over on my calories, I'd tell my coach and we'd figure it out over the next few days. I wasn't going over, feeling scared, pulling back on my own, and then feeling guilty, feeling scared she'd judge me. It was trial and error, honest, open conversation the whole way through.
Yeah, and like, it sounds like, all right, you had all the foundations in place then to put yourself in that aggressive deficit, but you don't want to stay there too long. So it is about like, all right, go aggressive and then get out there after the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Why would it be better then, right, for anyone listening who is like, oh, I'd love to be that level of leanness. Why would it be? What are the benefits of being a couple of kilos heavier?
Carl.
Because like this we deal with clients who think to themselves, oh, if I was that lean I'd be so happy, or if I was 60 kilos, then I'd be happy. Do you know what I mean? So convince someone why they might be a little bit happier being 2 or 3 kilos heavier.
Burgers, pasta. No, food enjoyment, food variety.
Yeah,
huge.
Flexibility.
Having a social life, being nice to your family. As like my family just kind of got on with me. I was insufferable. Like I'd wake up and like check my abs, and they were like just get over it. I was boring. Like I was really boring. I'm a social person. I'm chatty. I'm bouncy. Whatever. I wasn't any of those things anymore. I was just like, I'm going to the gym, steps, walk home. So like. You lose your spark, you lose your energy. I was getting injured. I never get injured. I never ever, since I quit gymnastics, I'm pretty much plain sailing. The backs of my heels, every time I walked on them, it was sending pains into my glutes from just wrong shoes, but so many steps, like all of that stuff. My body couldn't keep, there's no way I would have been able to go even a week or two longer than that.
No, you wouldn't maintain it.
Although, I looked great, and I'm so happy with the photos, and I'm so happy that I showed myself I had that discipline. I love feeling good. Like obviously I felt light and whatever, but I had no variety in my life, or like socializing. I love socializing. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the problem, is that like, okay, it's a really good challenge to set, and you were in a position where you can set it. But I think the problem is a lot of the general population who don't have them foundations in place think that that's the pinnacle of fitness, and then they go from one extreme to the other. Whereas you're trying to find that middle ground where, okay, you train, you eat well, but you also enjoy yourself. You also have a little bit of flexibility, and trying to find that. Yeah.
And it was difficult to come out of that like mindset of like solid, rigid routine.
See, that's what I was going to ask you that next. Is like I'd say it probably took a couple of weeks to give yourself that little bit of more freedom and flexibility. Like you're not just going to jump straight from, okay, I was in a rigid routine for so long, and now I'm just going to do what I want.
Yeah, so after my shoot, Sean came home that day. And we were like, let's enjoy platform. And I was like, greasy, tasty food.
Felt awful, I'd say.
I had like 3 boneless chicken wings, and my stomach completely seized up. I had, I think, 3 or 4 drinks, and I've never been so hungover in my entire life. Like, didn't get out of bed for a whole day. So after that, I was like, right, I can't just bounce straight back. So that, like, I was still pretty strict. I wouldn't say strict, but my diet, my meal times stayed the exact same for a while. I was just really slowly increasing calories. I really slowly decreased steps. So I actually, like, basically reversed diet. I was slowly getting back to normal. And it did take, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks to not obsess over food anymore. But that's like, I kind of expected that. I went into it knowing, okay, the photo shoot day isn't end game. If I see that as like absolute end, I might lose myself the next few weeks. So I treated the next few weeks as continuing on with the prep, just taking steps back.
People don't realize that there needs to be a plan after the plan.
Oh, 100%. And even more honesty with your coach.
Since then, obviously, you've been able to eat more food, probably be more productive, have more energy, all this stuff, and that's probably translated in terms of business and so on and so forth. So you're doing a lot of different things. Obviously, we've this event coming up. You're also running a run club. Tell me a little bit about that and what the idea was behind that.
So I actually kept joining run clubs. I kept texting places, being like, I'm going to start this weekend, and then just being like, right, Phoenix Park on a Saturday morning. No way. So I said it to one of the girls, and we kept saying, oh, we'll join. And she was like, Niamh, make your own. I was like, could I? So yeah, I did. I was like, right, I'll get a few people together, whatever Saturday it was. And initially it was genuinely just for me to run on the weekend and for other people to be there. So I'm accountable, they're accountable. And then we've just kept it going, and it's more, now we're kind of training towards a 10K in May. So that's a little bit more like a bit more structure, a little bit more pressure on some people that have been coming for ages. But at the core of it, it is still just like a social group. Yeah. You get to come and meet people you don't really talk to during the week. You talk about stuff that isn't work related. You're not gossiping about people in your friend group. It's completely people you'd never really talk to. Yeah. And you're moving, like it's so much easier to open up to people while you're moving, and like just that kind of repetitive, like a rhythmic thing is like you get that with running. And you then go for a coffee after, you then go to the sauna after, and it's like a therapy session. Yeah. It's so nice.
What I was going to ask is, why do you think that they've become so popular? Because like they are shooting up everywhere. Like when I was in Austin, there was run clubs, and I mean to say there was about 150, 200 people at them. Yeah. Why do you think they've gone so popular in recent years?
I think, I was only saying when I was driving around with my mum earlier, there's so many people out on the weekends, cycling, running, walking their dogs, like nowadays than I think pre-COVID. You just didn't see that pre-COVID. And I think we all were so squashed in during COVID and claustrophobic and like rubbing off our partners and our family and our parents, that once we were allowed to go do the things we naturally want to do, we were like, right, I'm not going back to how I was before. We tasted that little bit of freedom, and I think a lot more people did get into being active for the right reasons.
Mental health, yeah.
Mental health, because it was taken away from us. And yeah, I think it's just building from that.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's what I was going to say. I'd say COVID definitely had a huge impact on it. I also think because of COVID, it transitioned a lot of people who used to work in offices to working at home. And like a lot of people spend most of their day sitting at a desk at home, not really interacting with anyone. So then like the thing with the run clubs of what I see is like it's community. Yeah. Like a lot of people getting to interact with people and go out and just see people in the flesh. Yeah. I think that's a huge part of it as well.
Yeah, just being part of something.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than work.
Yeah. So is in terms of actual performance, all right, let's say there's a couple of people who want to join the run club but are worried that they can't run or would struggle to run. Do you have any kind of strategies or systems in place to help them people? Yeah,
so there are two kind of groups, not two groups, but there's two options. We do a shorter option and a longer option. Now the longer one is now up to nearly 10K because we're training towards something specific. Yeah. But then the slower, shorter option just has a different, not as long a route. And then I just stay at the back with whoever is like, sometimes I just like to stay at the back because I'm tired. But like I always say, if you want to come and like walk half of it, jog half of it, we can cut across. Like if they're doing a big loop around, we can just cross the road, meet them when they've come back down. It's about the social aspect of it, and just getting out, getting to talk to people. So yeah, I stay at the back with whoever needs to stay at the back, and then go for coffee.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like even seeing other people who are just maybe walking half of it or walking up to the end of the beach and back down, like that also encourages other people to want to get involved because they're like, oh, they're not all fucking Olympic athletes and I can join in as well.
Yeah, and I've honestly like grabbed so many people from that. They just see us, like a few people down the running club were like, who are those people? And I just like, I saw them talking and I was like, well, hello. I was like, we're here every Saturday, da, 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 da. And they're like, oh, I've always wanted to join something. And we always see you here. So yeah, so many people are joining from just seeing us, seeing that we're not like dicks, just being like, run club, like
Yeah.
crazy intense. They just want to do something different on the weekend that's not just getting locked.
It can feel, it looks and feels inclusive, whereas sometimes trying to get people into the gym and so on and so forth can be a really intimidating thing to get people into as well, obviously, as you know.
Yeah. It's a low barrier.
Yeah.
Just put your runners on and
go out for
show
a stroll.
up.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of obviously work, so run club event, but also you made the decision recently to work with Dan Hancock. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's an award in mental health and exercise coach. Well, I will be a mental health and exercise coach.
Why was what was the reasons or wants to sign up to something like that?
I think like I've always coached people through like better mental health. It's all like it's just an absolute no-brainer as a personal trainer for me. Like help them with any struggles they're going through, maybe in their own life or whatever. I've instinctively done it. Like I've had my own troubles and struggles as most people have. There's been mental health issues in my family, so I've always kind of been able to help people. But I wanted to do it with integrity and have structures in place and say, I know this is the right step, the right way to bring this person through whatever they're going through. I had so many calls with different like business coaches, like fitness industry, business courses and stuff. And it just felt, it wasn't what I was looking for really. Like I wanted to help people with an array of problems and circumstances. And I actually spoke with Dan himself one-to-one on our Zoom call, and I was like, he has the right idea. It's a complete client first approach, and I'm enjoying it so much. I love it.
One thing that I notice about you, even in terms of, I've seen you've worked with business coaches. I've seen like you don't have an ego in terms of you'll hire a coach to help you with your training performance. Obviously, you're working with Dan now as well to improve your skills as a coach even more. So like self-development in your coaching is obviously a really important and integral part of what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So my question would be, what do you think are some of the most important lessons you've learned so far on your fitness journey as a coach in terms of coaching clients and helping them to improve their health and fitness goals?
What
do you think? What are some of the,
as a coach
as a coach,
from a client's point of view?
As a coach trying to help a client to improve all aspects of their life through fitness, what do you think you have learned along the way in terms of helping them clients?
Okay, leave your ego to the side. I wish I learned it day one of
Is that something you
becoming
struggled
a PT.
with?
Yeah, a little bit. I think, definitely. I was trying to be too ahead of myself from the day I finished my course. I was like, right, I'm a PT now. I need to be like a really good PT.
I have all the answers.
Oh, some of the things like in like group fitness classes, like that I just like throw on the spot, I'd be like, oh, well, try this, like trying to like show off as a coach. But I had to pare it right back and simplify everything and be like, people come to me because they want to feel good. They want to maybe get a little bit stronger. Maybe they want to not be as scared in the gym. What is the simplest way that I can help them? I'll give them a really simple plan. I will ask them what they eat now, make that a little bit better, and I'll just stay with them on the journey. I spent so much time, I'd say 2 or 3 years of trying to learn the perfect programming and like get the perfect systems and all that, like, which is important to an extent, but I needed to take a step back and be like, right, how can I help people? Ego aside.
Yeah, you were overcomplicating it for yourself, thinking that would make you a better coach when
to
being
show
a better.
off.
Yeah.
Which
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Like I know for myself personally, I think like I'm much more comfortable now if someone asks me a question saying I don't know or referring them on, whereas at the start of my career I would always try to give the answer.
Yeah.
Even when I didn't have the answer.
Yeah.
And I also think, it's like, what did they say? It's like, you know, beginners overcomplicate and, you know, people who are advanced simplify things. And I think that it's like 80% of the population, all they need to do is actually just get in and do something.
Yeah.
Rather than having the most optimal plan.
Increase their steps.
Yeah, yeah,
Drink one more glass of water.
yeah,
And then just to have someone on the other side be like, you're doing a good job.
yeah.
Keep going.
So you would say then one of the most important lessons you've learned coming full circle is just be there to support them and not to overcomplicate it.
Simplify things for people.
Yeah.
And just be there for them.
Yeah.
I think a huge thing with beginners, well, not even beginners, anyone coming to me as a coach or to any coach, is they see this like portrayal of exercise or health and fitness as like, they just see like bodybuilders or like whatever perfection on the internet.
Yeah.
And they come to you being like, oh God, like this is going to be such a huge thing. I'm going to have to count all my calories. I'm going to have to do all these things, blah, blah, blah. And just to completely simplify it for them and say, right, this is this is my general guideline. Let's just touch base every week. You might go like way off a week, 2 weeks in a row, but know that like you can come back and just be like, right, I'm just going to keep moving forward. Being there for them to allow them to realize that you absolutely don't have to be perfect.
No.
You just need to make small improvements.
Yeah. Like fucking Jenny who's 40 who hasn't exercised in the last 10 years doesn't need to know all of her macros and have the perfect training split. She probably just needs to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think people need to do to become more consistent with their health and fitness goals? Even if we simplify that to like, you know, them getting out for a walk, going doing some sort of a training split, whatever it is. What do you think people need to become more consistent?
I think a huge thing that like most of us as the population of like myself as a coach, everyone, before trying to perfect anything is managing your stress levels and expectations of yourself, which will also help with stress levels. Because when most of us are stressed or we deal with stress, it doesn't mean that we're anxious people or we have anxiety. Stress is natural. We all experience stress, but so many of us go into things adding more stress to ourselves. And then if you're like, God, I have to get to the gym, blah, 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 like everything becomes harder. So to start by maybe getting a little bit more sleep. Meditation is unbelievable, and I feel
that's something you're really big into as well.
Hugely, and I think it's becoming less woo-woo.
Yeah.
You know, people used to be like, oh, meditation, go up into the Himalayas and close your eyes. Like, it's not that. Meditation can be colouring.
Yeah.
Anything to bring you out of 150 kilometers per hour a day from start to finish. Anything that can allow you to step back, having a bath.
Yeah.
Just spending more time maybe at home, chilling. Doing those things will bring you out of a stress response and will make life changes so much easier. So like I'll check in on my clients' stress levels. I'll look at that on their check-in form before anything else. If they are really stressed, their eating's going to be harder, their sleep isn't going to be as good, it's going to be harder to get to the gym. So just managing your stress levels alone has a huge effect on everything else.
What's a misconception you had about health and fitness when you were younger that you no longer hold?
I think about the industry, that it was for physique only. And I think that's one of the reasons why I found it quite difficult when I became a coach, because I spent all of my years both in gymnastics and with my PT, all of that, it was all performance to me. And then I had this idea of when you're a PT, you're like a fitness influencer, physique coach kind of thing. So I had to deal with that.
Walking business card.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was like trying to become the perfect whatever coach, because I thought that the fitness industry had to be trying to like, I don't know, this mad Instagram place or like image place. So yeah, I think that was what I saw of the fitness world. I knew that exercise, I knew intuitively because I'd done so much movement and stuff growing up. I knew that exercise was good for you and could make you feel good, but I felt like when I stepped into the fitness world that it had to be different, had to be about...
Yeah, you forgot Niamh, who actually enjoyed exercise for that reason when you became the coach who actually coached Niamh.
Exactly. I stepped away from what I actually believed about exercise because I had to now be a coach.
Yeah, makes
and
sense.
that was my journey to come back to...
you come full circle essentially.
100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lastly, we're obviously going to be running this event in July. Why should the people come to this event and where can they get tickets?
Why not? So they should come to the event if they are in any way interested in their health, in their mindset, in their mental health, which I think everyone should be. It's maybe the most important part of your life. If you don't have those things, most other things become unimportant. So if you're in any way interested in knowing how to live healthier, be more confident, and maybe get some tools about like how to manage so many different... We have so many amazing coaches that I'm so excited about. Like, I'm still a little bit nervous to be standing with these people and the information and the knowledge they have. So yeah, if it
but
sparks...
like that would be something when you were younger, when you were starting off your journey in the gym, to be able to go to an event like that and kind of... You're almost getting information that shortcuts your way to success.
Absolutely.
Almost.
Yeah.
From because you've obviously been there and done it, come full circle. So rather than people making all their own mistakes, they can literally just learn from yours.
Absolutely. Yeah. So many, an array of coaches with different experience. They can give you tips on everything. You'll get to meet people who are also interested in feeling better. I think it's going to be unreal.
Where can people get tickets off you?
Text me, DM me, DM Carl.
Where can they DM you?
Instagram at Niamh O Donovan.
Yeah.
And I'll pop you on the link. We are still early bird price and they are flying.
Yeah, early bird price, 30 quid.
30 quid for now, which is a steal because we have seven
main speakers.
7 main speakers. I wish I had one of these things when I was younger because of the years of crap that I learned and unlearned and everything. It'll be deadly.
Thanks for watching. If you like that episode and you want to see more content like this, make sure you're subscribed and I'll see you on the next one.